Lots of chatter on Twitter this week about the Seth Rollins fight and big promo that he had with Matt Riddle. Riddle no longer just called Riddle, now he's Matt Riddle. He's got that name back. It feels as if there's an edge of realism here. Did you see the fight? Did you hear the promo? What do you think of what Hunter's doing with maybe this fresh paint of coat here, as Bruce would call it?
Well, I think I'm a big fan of Matt Riddle, and I think Seth Rollins is a really good worker. The fight, I don't know. What do you think of it? You know what I think? I think it, I think it's too many punches, too fast. And I think that when they do that, man, you got to make sure everything looks good. Matt Riddle is a former MMA
Yeah.
guy. I mean, a UFC guy, right?
Mhm.
So you know, I just know that Riddle's legitimately tough. And if you look at it, it's like these guys that do these hockey fights, what they call them, right? But in hockey they're really hitting, they're knocking the shit out of each other. So I don't know. I thought it was okay. Apparently the fans liked it because it got a pretty good rating, I think.
Yeah.
And
I,
anything that they can do to promote Matt Riddle's career, I mean, I really liked him. I like him a lot. He really likes the business and is respectful as hell.
the chatter online is it feels a little more realistic. You know, you saw Seth Rollins have some comments about Matt Riddle's real life, referencing a divorce and some children, and you saw Riddle dropping f bombs that were blurred out and censored on Monday Night Raw. That is definitely a departure from the more PG presentation we had not too long ago. Do you think wrestling in 2022 needs an edge like that?
Um, well, you know how I feel about the personal things. I mean, Eric used to say stuff about me, bring up my personal life. You know what I mean, right? And I didn't like it then. I mean, and knowing full well that Matt Riddle could beat the shit out of Seth Rollins, I don't like it. Because if they went backstage, you and I both know what would happen.
Yeah.
Hell, Matt Riddle's not afraid of Brock.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know how I feel about this personal comments. I never liked the stuff that he did with Jeff Hardy. Didn't care about that at all. You know what I mean? What do you accomplish by discussing all that?
Well, I think it's the probably the suspension of disbelief. You know, we tried to do a little bit of that with your
Yeah, but
last match
you
too.
see enough about it on social media. Why reinforce it on the television program?
Fair enough.
I mean, that's just my take on it. I'm not saying I'm right,
Yeah.
but I just think when you start talking about personal things, with the idea that you know, the writers are shooting whoever writing it down. They're not. They're not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's still. I'm just not crazy about it. I think that I think the reason that guys like me and Brett and people like that are making a lot of money and are fortunate enough to make a lot of money is because wrestling was different back then. We didn't have to take shots like that. We did with each other, but we
Right.
were prepared to fight each other at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It never happened. I mean, what would you? And I know you're a big fan of the guy. Do you think that Matt? Do you think that they could pay Seth Rollins enough money to say something about Harley Race's personal life on the same show?
I mean, you know, listen, I do think it's
I'm asking you a question. Or
yeah,
Blackjack Mulligan, or Dick Slater.
yeah, it was a different time, that's for sure.
It's a different time. Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
it's like I get it, but I don't get it. I mean, you just ask my opinion. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like anything but family or
Right.
things that are actually happening in your life that are hurtful to your kid. Yeah, their kids got to hear that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got little kids hearing that stuff. Why?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hey, you know, since we're talking about most recent topics, there's been some speculation online that perhaps They're thinking about bringing Braun Strowman back into the fold for WWE. Did you spend any time with Braun? What's your feelings on Braun Strowman as a WWE player again?
Well, I like Braun a lot. I haven't spent any time with him. I've seen him once or twice. I think I saw him at WrestleCon, but I haven't spent any time at all with him since he left. We're kind of working on a project together that hasn't really come to fruition yet. Um, it's a promotional scheme that somebody brought to me that it's legitimate, but we just haven't gone to work on it yet. So I don't know. He'll probably have to make a decision whether he wants to do that because it potentially could be very lucrative or go back to WWE. But I like Braun a lot personally.